welcome to Crashing Game Night. My name is Matt Diorio. Tonight, Madam M, Mallory Low, has returned to Crash Game Night along with her former bodyguard, Soldier First Class.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's right. Don't show your face. Don't show it.
That's
Humiliation.
first words already out the gate.
I am joined by the beanied one, Gerard Barrera.
Oh, what's up, baby? How's it going, my fellow nerds? Thank you for joining us. Man, the tension is hot. It's like I'm about to say it was like a boxing match right now. I'm feeling that tension. Ooh, rope it up, baby. Ooh, you got it, Soldier. Ooh, maybe Mallory. Ooh, love it. I'm loving it.
I'm gonna win.
And then, of course, we've got the newest member of actually the ranks of Soldier, the Lion's Mane.
How's it going, guys? How's it going tonight? Oh man, this is gonna be one fun episode. I already feel it. I can feel it already.
I can feel the heat in the room. I can tell you that.
I could feel the tension and the heat.
So good. Well, welcome, Mallory. Welcome to our beautiful,
welcome.
couch. It's got upgraded throw pillows from before. Last time you were here.
It's very modern and IKEA looking. Looks good. Very clean.
Says IKEA.
It's very modern looking.
Jason got a new computer. So
yes, I did.
He needed to upgrade the couch.
Yes.
So
new computer.
New computer, new couch.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Whole new
2021.
2021. Bring it in.
Yeah.
Bring it in.
You go, Queen. That's right.
Uh-oh. It's already starting, Jerry. Newman's in chat already.
You know, I should have, I totally didn't think about this, but I should have worn my Crashing Game Night shirt.
Oh.
Can I just say how much I love that shirt? How the material, it is so soft. You know how sometimes where you like get some shirts and then you wash it like 3 times, then it's just the material
like
gets
they're like that plain straight cotton
and
shirt, promotional shirt where it's always shrinks.
Yeah, and it always shrinks, and then all of a sudden it's like extra small and like double extra small, and I could never fit it.
That one good wear. That one good wear.
That's it.
Done.
Yeah.
And that's why we chose those, because I ordered some in like for test, samples and stuff like that, and I'm like, I love this shirt because it's that Bella canvas material.
Yeah, we both have the same taste in the fabric. Like we like it when it breathes, but it still retains. You can wear it for like a couple days and still be cool.
It's like such a great loose fit. And that scoop neck. I should have wore it. Darn it.
It's all right.
I'll be right back. No, just kidding.
Right. So anyway, Mallory, how have you been?
Oh my gosh.
It's been a minute. You've been,
it has been. Geez.
Yeah, it's been a minute, and
it's been months.
It's been longer than that. Probably good 8 months, 6-8 months, something like that. Yeah, because it was back when the game came out.
It's been about 9 or 10 months, I think.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Everybody looks the same. You guys all look the same.
Well, wow. Unfortunately, because of a scheduling conflict, you weren't able to make the reunion that we had with everybody.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You missed those shenanigans with Austin. It was great. No, it was great.
It was
fun. Yeah, that was funny.
Everybody answering is Die Hard a Christmas movie, all in character.
Right. I remember you told me about that. I can't believe I missed that. Oh my gosh. That would have been so fun in Madam M's voice.
Well, we can still do it tonight. We can make up for it.
Why did I say anything? Why did I?
Well, now that you mention it.
We're going to put that one on the schedule tonight.
Right.
We'll have Madam M say that line.
Well, we've already kind of said Madam M's return, so.
Yeah. Gosh, you know what? It's been so long. Let's see. What have I been up to? To not have to, cross any NDAs and stuff. I'm working on 2 new shows. 2 new shows awesome. as a series regular. That's all I will say.
Oh, nice.
Congrats.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Very grateful. And let's see. So I've been working on those. Let's see what else. What else have I been doing? I don't think I told you guys, but I'm also a writer, so I'm writing 3 pilots right now. So
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Very cool.
so dabbling in some writing, and
Nice.
yes, and let's see what just like
Uh,
recently what just happened. Yeah,
I
yeah,
have
yeah.
a
What?
question.
Yeah.
Episodic, 30-minute, or half hour, or
Um,
hour.
hour,
Hour.
hour. So
Ooh,
one of them,
juicy. Ooh,
one of them
okay.
is a 30-minute, and I would say it's more of like a dramedy. I'm not going to say it's a multicam comedy because it's not.
Okay.
Um, but 2 of them are written as like 30-minute dramedy. One of them, and the other one is a 45 to hour long. It's like a crime drama, fantasy, science fiction
Ooh.
type. So it'll
Good
be really
challenge.
interesting.
That's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. It
The
is.
hour. The hour's tough
The
because you
hours
gotta
are tough.
keep them. Yeah,
Keep them
those are.
interested,
Yeah. That's good. Good luck. I only ask. I'm sorry I interrupted, but I'm the film geek, so I always have to
He is.
like ask.
No, I love that question. It's a great question because
Thank you.
they're all different, and
Mhm.
it's just the writing process is so coming from like more from like voice acting and being an actor, it actually helps a lot with the writing process because as you're writing dialogue and as you're writing the scenes, I think of it from an actress perspective, like does this next moment make sense to me? If
Mhm.
not, why and what do we need to change, right? Instead of like
Yeah.
forcing moments like, okay, and now she's having a fight with this is all made up. Now she's having a fight with her husband. And then after that, then she's doing this, and then it like doesn't make sense. So and everything is forced. So I want to make sure that all the dialogue and scenes are organic,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because as human beings, organically, our thought processes are very organic and they come natural to us. We don't just like randomly well,
And I think we've all fallen into the realm that we kind of need that now, as to TV back then, where it was
Mhm.
very scripted. If I
oh,
could say,
100%.
you know
Yep.
what I mean, especially with the
Oh, I know.
dialogue. Very
Yeah.
hit punchline hit. But now it seems everything needs to be a little bit more organic and not just knowing slang, but really just keeping the dialogue like a normal conversation. And that I find
Absolutely.
is very
Absolutely.
hard now.
Oh,
People,
absolutely.
writers try to do that a lot, and it's hard. It's hard.
I think, I think a lot of times writers like to write subconscious thought, like what they are thinking and instead of showing, right? You want to
Hmm.
show the audience the scene and not talk about it so much, right?
Right.
Because when we talk in real life, like for instance, if I were to say, if I were to write a piece of dialogue and say like, oh, Matt, I told you not to do that again, or something like that, for instance. No offense. Sorry. That's just a random piece of really crappy
You're involved in
dialogue.
the scene. Now
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in real life, I wouldn't call Matt by his name. I would just say, I told you not to do that again.
Yeah.
Don't do that again. Right. So it's just
Yep.
so interesting because yeah, like a lot of writers, they write, their subconscious thought and just kind of a little bit too much detail when really in real life a lot of times we don't talk about our subconscious thought,
Mm.
right? We don't
Right.
say what we
Yeah.
really feel and what we really mean. We censor that stuff. That's real life, right?
Yeah.
So
So
Do you find it harder, like, since you already have that like actress mindset, do you find it harder to write or easier to write because you
it's
already know what might make sense and what might not? Like, do you force yourself to sit there and say, okay, I've written this out? Like, how many times would you say you go back and you're like, okay, I thought this made sense at first, but now that I'm playing the scene out in my head, this does not sound right at all, and you've just got to completely scrap it? Like, is it harder for you in that mindset, or do you think it's easier knowing when you're writing it you can just use your experience?
I think it's both. It's really hard to say because there have been many times where my writing partners and we've written scenes. And then, we leave our writing sessions, we come back to it, and I read it, and I'm like, whoa, what did I just write? That does not make any sense whatsoever. So we let it marinate a little bit. We come back to it and we're like, okay, listen, you know what? That thought process emotionally doesn't make sense. So let's change that line a little bit. Like she wouldn't, because a lot of times, I think the best writers write from emotion, right? Not
Mhm.
just like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm a writer and this is what I want the actor to do. It comes from emotion. Like, how would the actor emotionally say this or move on to the next moment and say this piece of dialogue and respond? How would they respond emotionally? Um, so having that background as an actor, when I actually go through the dialogue, instinctually, I'd think, ooh, that doesn't trigger me, doesn't give me that feeling. Why doesn't it? Because the person that was just talking to me in the scene, it didn't trigger that feeling that I'm wanting as a writer, and I have to like change the dialogue. So it's hard to say like if I'm doing it, if it's harder or if it's easier. I really don't know what the heck I'm doing, to be honest. And I think that's a lot of writers. We
I
kind of
feel you.
just, we kind of just write it and see if it sticks, But I think definitely coming from an actor's perspective, it helps a lot because I would then like act the scene out. And then if it doesn't make sense, then I'm like, okay, there's something here that needs to be changed.
Yeah, one of the best things I learned on set too was the script is. I always felt like the script is like kind of a bullet points.
It's a
And
roadmap.
yeah, it's a roadmap, and
It's a map.
like especially the things because I obsessed about dialogue, and I hated
Mhm.
writing dialogue because I
It's so
just always
hard,
wanted
though.
it
It's so
to be
hard. It's not easy.
organic, and like
Mm.
then I started getting in my head like, is this hip enough? Then I started asking too many stupid questions.
Is it hip enough for you?
Right,
I mean,
right.
come
Or
on.
like, is it today? You know what I mean?
I mean, you're sitting
I
there
got
where
to that mindset, which was
you're wearing
terrible.
a beanie in California.
But
And
the
no,
All
one,
of his characters,
yeah.
all of his characters have
Right.
beanies. They look like hipsters. It's taking
Only
place in Silver Lake, Glendale.
one
Right.
main character always wears some sort of beanie or hat. Always.
Wayfarer
So
glasses.
But the one thing I did find when I was writing dialogue is like I just always wanted to keep it simple because
Right.
that was what I wanted to work with the actors on. So obviously I loved to rehearse,
Mm-hmm.
and I always felt like the dialogue, okay, this is the direction we want to go, but I
Right.
want you to make it your own.
Right. And I'm
Like
telling you, almost
make
like,
it
yeah,
have them make it organic for you.
exactly, because they're the
So,
character. And they're
right.
going to interpret that or the way to say that in their own way as the
So then they
character.
make it their own anyways too. So it's yeah.
Exactly. So you're so right about that. It's definitely it's a roadmap. And that's what I like to think of it too. Like, let's say, we always want to know, what is the intention of the scene? Like, why do we have this scene in this script? Like, what's the reason for it, right?
Right.
There always needs to be a reason. You can't just put random scenes in there just because you want to fill the pages. If it doesn't make sense to be there, then why put it there? It's a
You know,
waste of
people are
time and
gonna
a waste
cancel
of
it.
page.
There's a lot of like times where you see in writing where like, especially over an established series where people start to get to know a character, when you start writing things that don't make sense for that specific character, even
Oh, totally.
fans will notice that
People notice that.
100%.
Yeah.
Even the little stuff, like you'll see like a character, maybe not necessarily like a catchphrase, or maybe they do something like physically, like body wise, and then all of a sudden, like let's say the director says, "Okay, that's kind of weird that you do that. Like, can you not do that?" And then some fan out there is going to notice that, and they're going to be like, "Huh, that character's changing. I wonder why." So it's
Yeah.
like
Right.
Mhm.
all those behind the scene changes
Absolutely.
and stuff. It's really crazy.
So
I
with that
know.
too, is I know we've got some of the ranks of soldiers that are in chat for you. Soldier, you've got Data Roxa, you've got the Heartful Dodger, which Heartful Dodger, and thank you for the follow. But they were talking in chat too, as you were talking about writing and acting and stuff. And I want to kind of combine both what Heartful Dodger was asking or saying in Data Roxa, which was, with doing the writing and the acting, burning the candle at both ends. How hard is that for you?
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
But I think it works together. I think there's a lot of actors that become really great writers because they come from an actor's perspective and they know emotionally kind of the emotional journey to put the character on is a little bit easier because they come from an actor standpoint. They're able to kind of fit in the character's shoes a little bit more. But I would say that is it hard? Is it hard? Oh, I think it's. I don't think it's easy. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think every writer is different, every style is different, every writing style is different. And I think it's about more or less finding your voice as a writer and being able to interpret that in a script and into your show. And hopefully the actors will be able to take that roadmap or that map and make it their own. So I would think, it's I don't know. It's hard and easy. I can't really answer that question because, like I said, I am not Steven Spielberg, so or Aaron Sorkin, or whoever Quentin Tarantino. So I don't know the right way to do things. But you just do it because they're dreams. Why
So-
not?
See, I feel
So
like
with
that's
you getting
the right
ready
way.
to with you getting ready to travel, right? With the current dynamic we have right now with COVID and everything, and we know that
Yep.
as it was announced today, we got a couple more months of this before we can really start stabilizing. Because unfortunately, the new incoming administration was not left with any distribution plan for the vaccine, which is troubling. But so with you traveling to do these shows and stuff like that, how do you feel about the safeguards the industry has put in for the actors as well as the crew to be able to do these productions within the confines of what we see ourselves in with COVID?
Well, listen, I'm not going to announce this show that I just recorded,
Oh,
that I'm
absolutely.
just booked.
Yeah.
I don't think I can announce it yet, but in due time I will. It's
Awesome.
really great name actors and actresses, and I'm just so blessed to be a part of it. Anyway, I had to just get that out of the way. But the production company that I'm working with, and the network itself is phenomenal. They actually this morning they sent over a PPE travel kit package over
Wow.
to me. And filled with disposable masks, a face shield, hand sanitizer, hand wipes, and all kinds of different stuff. And I just recently took, an online COVID training through them. And to be honest, at first I was a little hesitant and I was, afraid of COVID. I want to be as safe as possible. But after taking these trainings and seeing how serious they are about this, it really reassures me to go back onto set
That's
and
good.
to
That's good.
and
Yeah.
to and
Yeah.
to go back to working again. It's
Yeah.
I think every company is different the way that they deal with things, but I can assure everyone that they don't want to close down their production. That's number one, right?
Well, yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
going to mess around with this stuff, right? So this is
Yeah.
very serious to everybody. So
So some of their security measures might be different, but they're very serious security measures
oh,
for
absolutely.
each production.
I've heard
So
of I've heard on some sets they have zones, right? Like zone A, zone B, zone C.
Yeah.
Only certain zones can interact with certain zones, or things like that. So it really reassures me to see these production companies and these networks taking all these precautions,
Yeah.
to make
And
sure
that's fantastic
not
to
only to keep
hear.
us safe,
Yeah.
but the crew as well.
yeah.
And that sounds a lot like what we saw with the inauguration.
Mhm.
Everybody's wearing masks, social distancing. Even the pool members, from the news media was saying how different it was.
Yeah.
Prior it was pack everybody in, no masks, and now it's
Yeah.
everybody's testing, everybody's wearing wristbands once they're tested, they're 6 feet apart. I mean, there's social distancing going on. So hopefully, they've got a tall task, but we need to get this under wraps because we're approaching. We're now coming up on a year where we had the first cases up in Washington and us going into lockdown. And I think all of us, are at this point because of we've now lost 400,000 Americans, which we are now the epicenter of the entire thing in the entire world, is that we've all been impacted. We know family, we know friends that have all, have gotten it. I want to say to Dan Roxa, who just brought up in chat that they and their family, they got COVID back in December, and thankfully it was only mild. They were able to recover from it. So I do hope we get this really under control really, really quickly, because honestly, you guys from an acting and a film industry you guys are trying to work under intense, stressful situations in terms of how you guys have to conduct yourselves to make sure not a single person gets COVID, because you will shut things down. It's like Tom Cruise shooting the new Mission Impossible. That clip, that audio clip came out where he is ripping into two people saying, you know what, we will shut this whole thing down because you guys are being stupid. And whatnot.
I get it.
So,
but I mean, there was a lot more to it than that too, because he is a producer, and that does cost him money. But for the most part,
it does.
But for the biggest part of the argument, which is why I give him credit, was that he was all about. He was saying like, this will cost people jobs.
It's so true.
Yeah. And like all these people around you.
Right.
You are spitting on them, and like you are costing them their job. So I really like commended him for that. Like,
me too.
Yeah. Lay down the law, man. I get it.
Yeah. Because you're like, you have to be right there in front of people, like you have to interact.
Oh man.
Like nonstop on set, face to face.
A normal set is just like haywire.
Chaotic.
So chaotic. It's chaotic.
Yeah.
And like for all of the precautions that like people are going through, it's great. And it's baffling to think about, because it's so much organization.
It really is. I was so impressed by, like I said, the online training that I had to take, and just how everything is so organized. Everything is planned. They and like I said, every company is different and every network is different. But for this network, they have different areas where you drop off talent or you drop off crew members, and and then they have to leave through this section of the shooting space, and so everybody has to get obviously COVID tested every other day or every day, right? So they're really taking it seriously, and I'm just, like I said, I am so grateful to be working again, and that they're taking this seriously, which is this is a serious thing. So it's really great. It's really great that people are able to work again, and in the crews and stuff like that, and it's really good.
Yeah, really good. This thing has lasted a year, and if it's not serious by now, I mean, it's mind-boggling.
Well,
this is a real thing, guys. This is real.
My wife got it back in November, so I mean, unfortunately, somehow I never got it, but she had it back in November, and it was rough. But
especially for your day job too, the fact that you haven't gotten it yet is
I know,
impressive. So
what do you do for your day job if we're okay to talk about that?
I'm a prison guard.
All right. Oh my gosh! Wow. Yeah.
Man.
That is crazy.
Ironic.
A literal
crazy.
Yep. Well, speaking of guard duty.
What have I done?
Segue.
What have I done?
Let's talk about this. So, way back, Soldier, you were all about Madam M.
To be fair,
her bodyguard. We had a discussion on the podcast. A soldier versus an SHD agent, and who would be better equipped to protect Madam M. And then you went on to play Persona 5, and all of a sudden, it's no longer Madam M. You're sporting somebody else. So we need to have a discussion about this. As Mallory put before we went on the air, an intervention, so to speak.
Look at Madam M just
Madam M
stroking that.
Take that beat. Go ahead, take that beat in that moment. Go ahead, take it. Take all the moments, ellipses that you need. Dot.
Cue Jeopardy music. To be fair, I have no excuse.
He ran out of Gil.
I know.
Couldn't afford that expensive massage anymore.
I'm out there grinding.
I
that-
saw
for
that Twitter
title.
name change. I saw that Twitter name change, and I was like, oh,
Oh,
that's how I found out, ladies and gents. Okay,
Oh,
that is how I found out a Twitter name change.
He couldn't even say I can't represent you as a bodyguard anymore.
Huh.
He just changed his name and kept on going with life.
Mm-hmm.
Roots.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I
Just
mean-
dropped me like a hot potato.
I mean,
Just dropped me.
as a soldier, I am a Rolling Stone of sorts, and I'm just making this worse.
Good recovery. Hey man, I think it's a great recovery. You're doing it. Keep going. Keep going.
Jerry's
That's
just watching
this
me
thought
dig.
process. Mm-hmm.
Jerry's
it's
just
all right.
watching me dig the hole.
No, I think you got it. I'm your only hope. I got it.
As
Spread
the-
that hope, baby. I
As
got
the,
you.
as the great Bob Dylan once said.
Yes, Bob Dylan.
What
Or-
did Bob Dylan say?
So you're writing stuff, right? That's great.
Say,
All right, slings and
Oh.
arrow time. Let's do it.
no,
I've earned it.
Just-
I've earned it.
No.
I mean,
Watch that
come on.
Twitter name's gonna change now. Now all of a sudden it's gonna change.
I'm sorry, man.
It's okay. Good
Can't
try.
recover
It's
from
all
that
right.
now. Yeah, it was
It's
a good
all
try.
right.
I
It was a
mean,
good try.
what would it be? What would a game night be without some shenanigans that are involving
Oh,
Soldier in some way,
definitely.
shape, or form? There's always something.
Every time he's on, you know, it's the boy.
I would like to point out that if you look at my Twitter name now,
Oh Lord. Hold on. Let's
Can
let's
can
do
somebody
this.
on Twitch actually really just confirm this Twitter name change?
Oh
I'm
no,
just
don't
really
worry.
Curious.
Don't
can we
don't worry,
confirm
Mallory.
this?
We're going to confirm it live for you. Don't worry about
No,
that.
let's
I can go ahead and
confirm it.
take care of that for you. Give me just a second
Oh.
here.
See, Matt should be my bodyguard. I mean, he seems like he
Whoa,
has my back
whoa.
a lot more than somebody. But
Oh. Pew, pew,
I earned
pew,
that one.
Pew, pew, pew. Shots fired.
All right,
Oh.
so let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and share our screen. And let's see, has things changed for you?
Oh, putting
did
And
he
we're
have a
going-
change
put him
of
on
heart?
blast.
Let's see.
Put him
We're
on
going
blast.
Yeah.
right to hey,
Well,
he's a man
hello.
of his word.
Okay.
He's now a
Let's see
warrior
how
of darkness.
long.
Oh, look at
Let's see
that.
how
Adam
long
M.
that stays up.
Soldier first class. See, I like it.
Look at
All
those.
right.
You know, the warrior of darkness for Madam M. Yo,
Yeah. All
that's
right.
right
Okay.
there, man.
All right.
Good.
You get
So-
a pass
I
for
like it. I
tonight.
like
You
it.
get a pass.
Now, though,
Yeah,
in
let's go.
all fairness, okay, so in all fairness, so let's kind of segue now into this Mr. Rolling Stone, because that's the other thing that's changed as of the last month and a half to really 2 months ish maybe, is that Soldier, you have shifted your content creation focus away from Final Fantasy VII and moved to Final Fantasy 14.
Welcome
Yes.
up, boy. Welcome to the Final
Yeah,
Fantasy
that's right.
14 community. Oh, I'm so glad I have another person just to be able to talk about this, and I don't have these guys, Matt and Jay, just Final
That's 'cause-
Fantasy 14 shaming me.
Well, that's
Oh
because
no, we're division shaming you right now.
That's
Okay.
because
We're
Matt.
onto
Only
that.
division.
We're onto
That,
right
that I
now.
can withstand.
Well,
That I
that's
can
because Matt and Jerry are uncultured, so it's okay.
Oh, really?
No.
Whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
you guys,
boy.
you guys
Alright.
don't know. You guys
Shots
don't know.
fired. I mean,
Not that far fetched. Okay.
So I played a Realm Reborn.
Yeah, but you
And-
need
Yeah,
to,
I didn't.
you need to
I'm
get
sorry.
in,
I
like-
stopped at 10. I stopped at Final Fantasy 10. The good stuff.
also acceptable.
then
14's a phenomenal.
remake.
Though.
7
Mm,
remakes.
just-
But yeah,
14's phenomenal.
no 14 for me.
Come on, man. We
Yeah.
got to get you on that.
Mm.
We got to get you on that.
I don't trust Jerry, but I can trust Matt though.
I don't know.
We've seen Jerry rounds before.
mean-
know, and-
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
Wow.
but
So
Okay.
what you're saying
All
is,
right.
Jason,
That was a
what
good
you're
one.
saying is, if it
Hey,
came
all
down
right.
to it, if
That was
we're
a
in
good
line
one.
at E3 again, whenever
Mhm.
that starts back up, and it is the
Please.
Final
I'm
Fantasy
hoping
14
for it.
challenge, that you're basically saying you would rather have me on that squad than Jerry.
oh, I
Right.
had Jerry on a squad before.
I thought I did well. I thought
Jerry
I
thought he
held
did
my own.
well.
Jason,
man,
I'll go with you, and we'll
I
get that
Hey,
T-shirt.
you
was
told me
for heaven's word.
S and P, and that's all I pressed.
Just one and
That's all I
two,
did.
three, buddy. 1, 2,
Oh
3.
yeah, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's all I did. 1, 2, 3. Boom.
Still failed it.
That was my job.
Jerry, please.
I did it.
Jerry, please.
That was my job, and I did it. I still think we should have won.
Don't worry, Jason. We'll go and we'll get that T-shirt, bro.
Yeah, I really wish I helped you get that T-shirt.
dude. We will definitely get that.
I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely no idea.
Hey, Soldier, the way you're going though, as of late too, especially with everything, is honestly, let's get you that E3 media badge if they fire back up.
Oh yes.
That would be great. I'd love to go.
Oh,
And then
Honestly,
see what
I
he got,
don't think-
partner.
I miss it.
Get them shirts, man.
Did Newman just roast Jerry in the chat?
Yes.
I think
always,
Newman
yes.
just roasted Jerry in the chat.
That's why we love.
How are
that.
you guys seeing this? How are you guys seeing these chats
So if you go
On
to-
wow,
on Twitch? What's
Twitch
going
dot-
on?
Newman.
Yeah, twitch.tv / crashing game night. You can see the chat that's going on right now. So that's the one
Newman-
thing that's great about these live
Newman,
shows
you
now,
know better.
Mallory,
Yeah,
is
we
that
can-
we have everybody making the comments, like the couple that are asking about, hey, is it hard to make, burn candles at both ends? We have our
good one.
stalwart that has been around for almost all of our episodes. We call him Newman. And he definitely likes to roast Jerry, and it's that Seinfeld take, right? And for our new viewers that are watching us live on Twitch and looking at the chat,
It's a lot of fun.
Purple Mystic is Newman.
It's
yeah.
not
And
a crashing game
the-
night without Newman roasting Jerry.
Oh,
correct.
not at all.
And he said, you're right, Jerry. You can use your toes to get to 10 since your hands are on the controller.
I mean, that's also
damn.
kind of true.
Damn, that was a
so-
good one. That was another
So
good.
we have
Man,
to
good shots today. Good
we
shots.
have to thank a fellow
That was a
actor,
three. You know what? That was like
voice actor and that is Danielle Basutti, who played Frey in God of War, and she's on Dwight in Shining Armor and whatnot. But we were telling her about Newman and how he roasts Jerry, and he's that nemesis, right? And we originally just called him Jerry's nemesis, and she's like, we were telling her about it, and she's like, oh, you mean like Seinfeld?
Mhm.
And from there, Newman was born.
Yeah, and
and he
take shots at all of us
and
too.
for all of those out there that are subbed at tier 1, the emote we give them is Newman.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
so,
Oh,
Yeah.
It
So-
is.
Oh.
Yes, it is. So-
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. So
So-
he is-
Yeah.
When
There it
did
is.
you guys start this Twitch thing, though? Like, I feel like
so the first episode was the reunion.
Yeah.
oh,
at the start
That
of the
was
year,
man.
pretty much.
that was
Like,
December 17th.
First time we went
was our-
live. First time we went.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we've wanted to do it for a good, probably 6 months, and we've wanted to just stand up. And I think a lot of it with us making the move to Zoom helped tremendously with that. And allowed us to have the infrastructure to Zoom, stream it straight onto Twitch. Versus we used to use Skype way back in the day. I mean, heck, our first episode with Soldier on it was Skype
Damn,
back
dude.
in the day.
Man,
Yeah.
Dude, Soldier, do you
So-
remember?
I think ours was. Did I do Skype
Oh,
with you guys
man.
too?
It was
Yeah, I think
I think
Skype
it was
was
Skype.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we
Oh, man.
finally moved over to Zoom. And it also allows us too is with Zoom on screen now on the live stream, we see everybody's faces now instead of Skype picking
Yeah.
and choosing who they want to show and
Oh,
whatnot.
That is
Yeah.
so cool.
Man, it's so insane to think
It's-
like back in the day of Skype,
Mhm.
dude. Man,
Yeah.
When we first started this, it's so weird.
I mean, we just celebrated
Yeah.
our start of year 3 on the 1st of the year.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's
Yay.
been
Yeah.
it's been a lot of growth, and I can't thank everybody enough that has been along with us on this journey, the guests that have taken the time out of their day to come out on the show and be part of this. But I mean, just the tremendous growth that we've seen you know, from the listenership and now the viewership too. It's great to see.
Yes.
And I want to touch on that too, is like we briefly talked about, you know, Soldier's channel and whatnot. And I do want to give some shout outs to you, Soldier, because you fired up FF14 not too long ago, really, and started making this push, and you are that close to becoming a Twitch partner.
Oh my gosh! Wow!
Thank you.
Yay!
Gonna have me
That's
blushing.
So cool. That is so cool. You go. Yes.
You're gonna get there, baby. You're gonna get there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what is I want to get your opinion on this, for, you know, for our listeners and stuff that have listened to you on the podcast for many episodes when you've been on.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like that unofficial fifth member of the team. But what's it like? What was it like to make that shift from FF7, which was kind of your bread and butter, to now doing FF14 and seeing the response in the viewership that you're getting now?
So I think with anything that you do creatively, where people get to know you for a certain thing, I think there's always that fear that if you don't do that thing, people aren't going to be as receptive, or maybe they, you know, we all have different interests. Like if your favorite rock artist decides one day that they're going to start doing opera music, you're probably not going to listen to them unless you like opera music. So much the same way with, like, you know, video games. You might subscribe to me for FF7, but, you know, you may not like 14, or you may love both. So for me, a lot of it was, I think there was that fear of transition. Number one, going from YouTube to Twitch, it's been one of those things where, like, it's a different platform. Not everybody uses Twitch. Is that viewership going to follow you? You know, even if you're playing Final Fantasy VII, is that viewership going to follow you because they know you on that one platform? So I think anytime you do a transition in content, regardless of what you're doing or what you're transitioning to, there's always that fear in the back of your mind that, hey, am I still going to get the same support? And when I started 14, obviously it was a little bit slower. People didn't know that I played 14 at first, or maybe they weren't interested in it at first, but then they saw me get really hyped about it and decided, hey, you know, let's check this out. Let's see what this is about. And I think as an influencer, that's a big deal for me too, because the more people get into these games that I enjoy, the more people I get to hang out with.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like content creation, a lot of it for me is I always put community first. Like, numbers are great. Numbers are always obviously great. You always tie that to your success. Like, much like TV shows with ratings. If millions of people are watching your TV show, you feel good, you feel great. If your ratings aren't that great, you start to, you know, question yourself or whatever. So I think the reception that I've gotten has been extremely positive. I've built this amazing community in 14 and have come over from YouTube, but also new people that I've met. And I'm honestly pleasantly surprised with how well it's going. I started probably averaging about 20 viewers a stream, maybe 10. And we're currently up to averaging 70 right now, with the other night we had up to 130 people in the stream at one point.
Nice.
So I feel like there's a lot, and this is not to talk about any fan base or anything like that. There's a lot of positivity in the 14 community.
And and a lot of communities, you know.
Oh yeah. And I feel like that has been a really big boon for me, because I feel like I thrive when I'm able to express myself and do what I want to do, and people still enjoy it regardless of if they agree with me or not. And that's something that I've really embraced.
So from your point of view, that toxicity, right, that you're talking about for the 7 community versus the 14 community, do you think a lot of that with 7 revolves around the fact is that there's so many people that were staunchly, and this is all due respect to, you know, the current cast too, but you had, you know, so many people wanted the Advent Children cast versus, you know, John and Brianna and all of them, but also too is just because they did make some changes?
So I want to say that there's a lot. So like anything, people have a certain image in their head of what something is. So when people picture Star Wars, a lot of people picture the old trilogy because that's what started it all. And I think that's what happens with 7, is that so many people started with the original 7 or got into 7 because of like Advent Children or whatever, or Kingdom Hearts. So their image of what 7 is different from maybe what my image of 7 is, because I started with 7. 7 was my first JRPG. So I have a lot of emotional bond to it. But some people may have started with Advent Children, and if they liked that, the atmosphere of those are a little bit different from each other, because one's more of a modern take, one's more of like, you know, it's clearly 1997, even though some themes apply to today. I just feel like that when you take something and you remake it, you're going to have 50 different opinions that clash. And that's where I think a lot of it comes in, is that instead of being receptive because of certain things or being negative because of certain things, there's a lot of clashing, and a lot of the writing in 7 is left open to interpretation, even in the original. So there's always that, what do I believe happened? What does this person believe happened? And as fans, we have to realize that not everybody started in the same place, and not everybody feels the same emotions for same characters.
Yeah.
So I think that's where a lot of the conflict comes in. Whereas I feel like with 14, everybody agrees that 1.0 of 14 was garbage. It was literally a dumpster fire. It could not have been worse. But when it was,
no, it was
yeah, it was bad,
drunk garbage.
but when it was remade, and
when it was reborn,
whenever it was reborn, and God, and
nice play on words.
It's a modern Final Fantasy now, and so everybody has kind of started in the same spot.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like that has helped. And it's also critically and fan wise, it's also one of the highest received Final Fantasy games ever. I think the lowest it has on Metacritic is A Realm Reborn. I think it's an 86, maybe. Every expansion since A Realm Reborn is in like high 80s, low 90s for rating.
Yeah.
And the user scores also reflect that. They also match.
Yeah.
So I feel like fan reception for 14 is very across the board positive, whereas even not even just 7. Let's say the whole franchise.
Well, I mean, like, just expanding on the 7 point is like you were saying earlier. Like, a lot of us played Final Fantasy 7, the original, on PlayStation 1. But I mean, there's so many branches, like Advent Children, Dirge of Cerberus, Crisis Core. Like, you could have started anywhere in those spots, and that's what that would be your initial perception of Final Fantasy 7. And coming into remake, it's just like, how do you meld all of those together to make it one cohesive unit? And you're just like, you can't, but
and for a lot of people, so let's say they started with Crisis Core. So their version of Zack in their head is one way. Well, for me, I started with 7, the original 7, so my perception of that character is completely different. Or it depends on the director. There's a lot of people that really like Kingdom Hearts. So they're used to, boom, this crazy thing happens, boom, this crazy thing happens.
Plot twist,
blah, blah, blah. A bunch of stuff all happening at once. And that's where I found the ending of Remake happened. And people, you were on one side of the fence or the other. You were either, I hate it,
discuss that,
or I love it. And
let's not go back into that.
Yeah. So, like,
we'll be here all night.
I think it all depends on director. I think it depends on what your taste is, I think it's all about personal taste. And so I think that with 7 being such an iconic and historical figure in the gaming community, we're just talking about way too many different trains of thought going on at the same time.
So since you talk about director and stuff like that, before we move on to talking about like some movie and some gaming news that are going on right now, being that it is the director and the team from Final Fantasy 14 that is going to be making FF16 that's supposed to come out later on this year, how do you think the quality of FF14 could potentially be impacted by these teams being split focused?
So that's actually a good question. The team from Heavensward was actually split off from 14. And when they did Stormblood, they had to train up this whole new staff. They had to do, and basically, so they're two different teams now. They don't even operate under the same. They do operate under the same umbrella, but not. It's not like 14's team is working on 16. 16 has its own dedicated team. So Hiroshi Takai is the director now. Yoshi P is just the producer, but he is working on both technically. And then you've got Ryota Suzuki doing combat. You've got Kazutoyo Mihiro working on the story. And I think, honestly, them taking what they know from 14 and how to do storytelling is actually going to improve 16's chances of being good, because they're putting together basically the dream team from Heavensward and adding action combat to it from a guy that did Devil May Cry 5. So I feel like the writing is going to be on par. In fact, Mihiro worked under Yasumi Matsuno, who wrote Tactics, Vagrant Story, and 12. And I'm a huge Matsuno fanboy, and so is Yoshi P.
Don't
so
worry,
I think
he cried on stream.
Can't
When he
escape
did
it.
Tactics. No, it was, but that goes to show you though exactly that storytelling piece of it though, right? It's to the point where it does pull at those heartstrings and does pull you in.
Yes.
And
The
when it
Evilise
gets to the point
Mallory
where
was saying earlier with the emotion writing.
absolutely,
yeah, the Evilise. So I don't get emotional a lot when it comes to games, movies, songs, anything like that. Like I have emotional ties to them, but for something to invoke that much emotion in me, it has to be written well. And that's where it's funny that I say I'm a Matsuno fanboy, because Matsuno actually wrote those raids. Matsuno came back to Square Enix to write those raids. And he came back and wrote the Bosgen stuff at the end of Shadowbringers. And when everybody, even when I saw the trailer for 16, I looked at it and I'm like, and I'm listening to the dialogue, I'm listening to the characters, and I'm listening to like how the world is being set up. And I'm like, is Matsuno writing this game? Like I had this.
So you could tell. Oh,
I
cool.
I looked at it
It's
and
a
I'm
writing style.
yeah, and I looked at it and I'm like,
Yeah.
is Matsuno writing this game? And then it turned out he got on Twitter and somebody had asked him point blank, "Are you writing 16?" And he said no, Mihiro is writing it. Mihiro worked with him on those 3 games and learned from him, and they have very similar writing styles, which Jason can actually attest to with Heavensward. Very Matsuno is Heavensward and even parts of Stormblood. So for Mihiro to have that kind of writing ability on top of feeling like Matsuno, I already have high hopes for 16 completely.
See, and that's the thing, we talk about split teams and stuff like that. And last week it was announced that the team at Ubi Massive and Julian Garrity, who's the creative director on The Division, they were going to be making the new open world Star Wars game. So a lot of people are wondering, how is this going to impact The Division? Because you are taking the heart and soul of The Division in Julian Garrity, who did Division 1 and 2, and now moving him over to the new Star Wars project. And I can tell you right now, they're bringing over part of the A team from Division to make this open world game. And I think that team absolutely deserves this shot, because they do amazing work, especially when it comes to the game design and the areas, because like for Division 2, it's almost a 1-to-1 replica of DC
Star Wars.
And I think through that work, they need to do there. And and Jerry's only saying Star Wars because Jason ditched us.
Star Wars.
Hey, yo, I'll join you guys for Star Wars, man.
I'm also a huge Star Wars geek, and I say, give them the entire team.
Stop it,
Jerry.
Give them the whole team. Star Wars.
Well, do we need to start comparing geekdoms because of what I just got and what's sitting in the corner right now?
Whatever.
I mean, I could really bust that out.
It's not a competition. Jesus.
Anyways,
I'm a bigger fan.
I think another reason why I'm really excited for 16 too is because like Naoki Yoshida reminds me a lot of he reminds me a lot of Sakaguchi. And I say that because Yoshida actually lets his team do their thing. Like when it comes to Natsuko Ishikawa, who wrote Shadowbringers, she wrote like the quest lines for like Dark Knight and a few of the other jobs in the game, and did such a great job with those. and they made her the main scenario writer for Shadowbringers, and now she's the lead scenario writer for 14.
Damn.
So real quick, Soldier, Newman has a comment for you, but he came for Jason Woodsaid comment. So he did say you guys shouldn't let Jason play with you, or at least until he finishes the photos for his article.
Yeah.
You didn't, dude. I asked you about at least the photos.
Jerry
bro.
told me about it. Jerry
I asked you, bro.
literally came
You
to
didn't
me.
do it. You did. I literally drove to you, bro. I
Oh
drove to
my
you as I was
God.
giving you your Christmas gift. You couldn't give a gift back. They were
Awkward.
they're just a few photos.
So Mallory,
Jason.
Jason's had this article that he's been writing for
Let's
the website.
not say how long it's been.
Oh my God.
Let's
6
not say how
months.
long it's been up.
6 months.
Let's not
The
say how
article,
long it's been
the
up.
article is written and just needs pictures. It just needs the pictures put into it,
The hard
and then I can
part's
post
done.
it.
The hard
So
part's done.
Newman likes to call that
Wow.
out quite a bit.
It's so great.
It's great.
You
Oh,
know,
God.
Mallory, when you get in that writing zone and then you just forget.
So
the name.
now he's coming for
Just-
Jerry,
Mm.
and he says at this point it's a matter of what happens first. Jason gets his photos done, or Jerry finishes FF7.
I'm gonna
Ooh.
finish FF7 because I'm at chapter, I believe 18. I'm very close. It's just I've been distracted with Cyberpunk and PS5 stuff, but I'm gonna get back to it. It's in my wheelhouse.
So let's talk about the some of the news that's going on right now.
Let's
'Cause
switch
we
the
need to-
gears
we
a
need to let-
little.
we need to let Jason kind of go cry in the corner a little bit. So Uncharted,
one of
a
these
movie
pillows.
that is one that we've kind of thought has been in purgatory forever. It was announced today it's been delayed till February of next year. But
Okay.
honestly, that's not surprising being that, as we talked about earlier, right? COVID is messing with so much in the entertainment industry, whether it be music, acting, film, gaming, all of it. And honestly, if it means that it's either they just need to reshoot a couple of scenes or do something and it's just going to be the movie we all hope it's going to be, cool. I'm cool with a delay, just let it be. There's also rumors that Black Widow is going to get delayed again for the second time.
Well, I think we're in the film industry is in quite the predicament, not unlike television. Television is thriving right now because there are multiple facets on how to get the show on, either streaming or television or what have you. Films are harder because one, you have the studios putting in their input, you have the safety issues with COVID going on, and
Theaters.
I think the biggest
No
predicament
one's going to
is-
theaters.
Yeah,
no
theaters
no
are
one's going to
closed.
theaters.
Yeah.
The
watch
biggest
movies.
predicament is
Mhm.
how are they going to distribute it?
Yeah.
We,
Distribution.
we already saw
Yeah.
how Mulan, how Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that sucks. I
So let
wanted
me ask
Wonder
you-
Woman to do so well.
Since we
But-
just kind of broached on that subject here, Mallory, from an actor's point of view, right? Because we had director Michael Matteo Rossi on 2 weeks ago, and we got his take on it. But from an actor's standpoint, right, how does it make you feel when you see that these studios are moving to this kind of like HBO Max is doing that split for the first 30 days? They did Wonder Woman streaming and in theaters, but you see that shift moving more towards the streaming services like Netflix debuting the movies, and then also the news that AMC theaters only have enough cash to get them through the end of the first quarter, and if they don't have the cash, then they're looking at seriously closing a lot of theaters, and we are starting to see that collapse of the movie theater section of film.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's heartbreaking, right? Because we love going. I mean, it's watching a movie in a theater. That used to be like my favorite thing to do, right? On the weekends.
Yeah, that was my quiet place. That was like, I'm gonna go
right?
see a movie. What are you gonna go
Right?
see? It doesn't matter.
Right.
gonna
And
I'll
seeing
figure it out.
something, seeing something as big as Wonder Woman would have been so great in the theaters, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that would have been so good. But I think I feel bad for a lot of the theaters companies like the AMC and all these companies, but I think everything is now going streaming. I think that's kind of
Yeah.
where it's going to go. this year, 2021, everything is going to go streaming.
And to me, I think that's sad because the movie theater is such an intricate experience, right?
It's an experience.
Honestly,
Yeah.
for everybody on this podcast, can you guys remember the first movie you saw in theaters?
Batman.
Ooh.
First movie?
Straight up. Batman.
First movie.
Yeah.
First movie I saw in theaters. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I will
Rookie
never
of the
forget
Long
it.
year.
time.
Rookie of
Batman,
the
Michael
year.
Keaton, Jack Nicholson. I will never forget it because I finally saw my first comic book hero live, and I was mesmerized.
Mine was Willow.
Oh, good one. That's a good one.
Gosh, I can't even remember. I feel like I've seen so many movies in theaters that I can't even remember my first one. Oh man.
I want to say I know what it is, and this is just a guess, but I'm pretty sure that it's Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man movie.
That would have been a good one to see in theaters as well.
I think that's I want to say that's what it was. I think it was Sam Raimi's first, because in fact, so I'm from a really small town of like I'm talking like small, like 4,500 people on a good day.
I want to give a shout out because there's someone in chat that kind of predated me on seeing some cool movies in the theater. Seld put in chat E.T.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
That must be like
Nice,
really.
yeah.
You know, that would have been a really good one to see in theaters.
I had to wait for the redistribute.
And Vixen says Batman Returns. So
man,
there's
that
another
was
one.
a great Batman.
I want to give a shout out really quick to Vixen, Liam, Radia Farron, and Tony Tone. Thank you guys for the follows on the channel. But
Thank you.
But I think that we look at so many memorable movies, right, that we see. I mean, I can remember seeing Who Framed Roger Rabbit in theaters. I remember seeing Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park in theaters.
Getting me nostalgic right now. My gosh.
And
Liam saying the mask.
One of the best. One of
the
best.
original, like I remember seeing Hook in theaters.
Hook.
Which which Robin Williams. Rest in peace.
Dustin Hoffman.
Newman said Return of the Jedi was his.
That's awesome.
But the original Mortal Kombat, we're talking about games to film, that original one. I mean, there's so many.
Damn. That was your first movie?
As long as you don't
That's cool. That's cool.
Okay.
It's like Street Fighter.
So I can actually top you real quick on where I saw my first movie.
Okay.
A drive-in theater.
Oh.
That's awesome.
You guys actually have a working one?
We have one too, Jerry.
When I was younger,
yeah, but it's a drive.
When I was younger, there was one about 15 minutes away, and that's where I saw the first Spider-Man movie.
That's super cool, man.
Drive-in
that's
theater.
awesome.
It's not open anymore, but
they and that's the funny thing is you talk about drive-ins.
Anything should get revitalized.
They are
drive-ins.
Yeah.
There's been a massive resurgence in drive-in movie. The drive-in movies because you can social distance.
Of course.
You're all right there.
All you ever really have to do is update your distribution, which is like Bluetooth now. Mm-hmm. Have everyone just do it through the radio or their phone, whatever.
Yep.
And then boom, you can streamline it to make it so easy.
And I think, and for me, it's like it's sad because I don't want to see these theaters like the Chinese Man. That's there. Also the El Capitan. Some of these. The Dolby Theater, right? It's so iconic when you walk up those stairs going into the Dolby.
I'll never forget the first time I went there.
You see all the winners, of all the best pictures and everything like that. And I think when Theo and I got to go to the Bethesda press conference, E3 2015, that was the biggest thing that I was in awe of is that walking up these stairs where they filmed the Academy Awards at and seeing so much of this film history. And I think if we see the collapse of theaters, I think that is going to be a huge travesty and we are going to lose a part of our film culture is because that's the whole thing is going to the theaters. Granted, theaters need to bring down in price because it's too expensive to take a family of four to the theaters, right?
Yeah.
It's not the, back in the day where we all like $5 a ticket, and we still smuggled in candy from the
I
grocery store.
I remember
Parking lot.
Sundays were dollar movie night. Dollar movie night.
You smuggled in candy and your friends.
All
Pretty
the time,
much,
yeah.
right? Someone was manning the fire escape.
The back
door.
fire
we're gonna
escape
let
where
you
the
in.
alarm didn't work.
No, you didn't do
Yeah,
the ticket thing. Like, oh yeah, look, no, we're here already before you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the exchanging of the tickets. I've done that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm on a podcast with a bunch of degenerates. How dare
Hey man, we had to scrap
Hey,
in
man.
Long Beach. We had to scrap to go see those movies and
And-
those midnight
and
movies. Yeah.
To Kelethor's point of view, he was saying, like, they're saying is the sound systems in the theaters on Hollywood Boulevard and the size of the screens changes the experience, and AMC isn't the same. And I would absolutely agree with that, because going to the Chinese Man Theater, that was an experience, and that was something 2015.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It was, we went and saw Jurassic World. It was Scott, Theo, and I, and seeing that in that theater and everything, seeing it, just all the openings that have ever been at that theater, Star Wars and everything like that. It is a part of our culture, as a, and I think we can't. I don't think we can afford to lose it, right? Yes, streaming is very convenient, but when you look at it, right, they're charging, depending on the movie, $20 to $30 for you to just rent the movie to watch with your family.
Yeah.
And I think if the theaters can finally start getting, we start getting the vaccines out there, and we can start getting people back in. If the theaters can say, okay, fine, we're going to set our prices even for a welcome back. Let's go back to like $8 tickets all the time.
Yeah.
Right. I would rather spend
Oh,
the
there'll be
$30
lines out the door
tickets.
just to people want it. People want to get that experience back. I also read an article that AMC or some big theater corporation is looking to partner with On Demand now to be a kind of the new service for movies, to be at an instant, but that would also cut from the streaming problem. So you pay instantly on demand, you watch your movie, you're done. So it's kind of like paying at the movies.
It's
But who knows
crazy
if
that
that'll work.
it's crazy that we might live in a world 10 to 15 years from now, and the next generation is going to learn about movie theaters from textbooks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what
it's
I mean?
weird.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
like,
it's so weird to me, because like, Matt, you've got kids,
Mhm.
it's like these kids are going to grow up in a world where this pandemic was like the biggest thing that ever happened to them. Like,
Right.
it's the biggest thing that's probably happened to us in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Um,
But like, to
Well,
know that,
I mean,
that
you
kids
talk
are gonna
about-
grow up, and it's like, this is going to be their history now.
I mean,
Yeah.
for all of us, we can talk about it. Is like, I mean,
Inside
got-
Encyclopedia
for us,
Britannica.
we have
Us
9/11.
was- yeah, 9/11 was
We've got
our, like-
9/11. We have
Yeah.
an attempted insurrection. We have 2 impeachments. Actually, we've lived through 3 impeachments, because we have Clintons too.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's 3 impeachments.
I was very young.
Me too.
We've got
Yeah.
COVID. We've got
Mhm.
Hussein, when we got Hussein.
Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
We've got Bin Laden. I mean, we have so much in
We've
this
got a
generation
lot of
that's
historic
happened,
nights
and
in our generation, but
I would really like us to stop living through historical moments.
yeah,
for a while.
I kind of
Yeah.
feel like COVID is our cherry on top. They would just like, oh, one more you guys got to go through. Just one more. One little like cherry on the top, and like you guys are gonna go through it. Like,
How many rite of passages do you need, history?
Right.
leave,
Right.
leave us alone.
Like, Jesus,
We're done.
We're
We've
tired.
had our moment. I
We
mean, come
passed,
on.
we passed the
No.
test years ago. Let it go.
I
Okay,
know.
hold on.
Yeah.
We passed the test when we were playing Oregon Trail on Apple IIe's in school.
Oh man, I remember playing
Man.
Oregon Trail.
I remember that
Oh,
too.
such a great
Oregon
game on those.
Trail.
Yep.
Floppy
Conk
disks,
that wagon.
everything.
Conk that
The
wagon.
floppy disk. Yeah.
Get it
Oh,
over.
man.
That
Yep.
was
So,
old. Yeah.
So real quick, just want to touch on swing as we're closing up tonight, though. So we going off track here. So real quick, European Commission fined
Us.
Valve, Capcom, Bandai Namco, Focus Home, and Koch Media, and ZeniMax a combined $9.4 million for geo-blocking, which is basically a practice of which platform holder like Steam forces users in one country to pay the set video game price for only that country. EU has very free trade practices and stuff like that, so it's very anti that. And then we had the Resident Evil showcase today. You had the RE8 Village trailer.
Dude,
You had the 5-minute gameplay revealed. The demo is now live for PS5 players.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
Resident
I'm
Evil.
down.
Resident Evil
down,
is going
but-
to have a Division crossover starting 2.2 through 2.15,
I
where
don't
if
even
you
lie,
sign in,
it looks scary.
you get the Leon Kennedy outfit for free. There's going to be other themed weapons. And then they also showed off the animated Resident Evil movie is going to be hitting Netflix in 2021. And they're also working on a TV show as well. Overall,
please,
not a bad.
Please
bad
let the
news
TV
day.
show be good. Please.
Yep.
Please.
We'll see.
Hopefully, it's as good as the
Um,
Castlevania anime.
Yep. And then you also have
so
you
good.
also have Ari,
Also agree. Also agree.
Resident Evil Reverse, which is a multiplayer game that'll be free for anybody who buys Resident Evil 8. So, but honestly, yeah, this is, as always, this is always a blast when we have you guys on.
It was.
Yes.
Shenanigans always got to ensue, and
Absolutely.
Especially when I'm here. Like,
whenever
Absolutely.
we're like, oh, we're gonna stay on the rails, we're gonna be, like,
Oh yeah, we went
right
off
on
the
the
rails
line,
tonight.
just
And-
boom,
and-
out
so-
the window.
and then you invited me.
Throw
And
it out the window.
So, as always, guys, thank you guys for crashing game night with us. As always, Soldier, Mallory, you guys are welcome on
Always.
anytime.
Always.
Oh, thank you.
You have that standing
Always.
invite. So once your schedule balances back out and you're done shooting, you can talk about things. We can get you back on, Mallory, so we can talk about how your experience
Please
was
come
with
back.
shooting with COVID.
I would love to. I would love
Awesome.
to.
Especially, I was really curious how you're shooting with COVID, and it's just, hopefully when you come back on, like, you'll be like, oh my goodness.
I'm
these
telling
war
you,
stories.
I'm so reassured and so comfortable.
Good.
Like I said, I was hesitant, but after taking these online trainings, I also had an HR training with the network. They're really taking it seriously. So
Nice.
I'm really,
Good.
really proud of the industry and just everybody's trying to stay as safe as possible and still work, so this is great.
And then for everybody that stopped in chat to hang out with us tonight and watch this, thank you guys for crashing game night with us tonight. Coming in, hanging out on the couch and chilling with us.
On the couch.
Yep, absolutely. So if you guys like what
Wednesday.
you saw tonight, guys, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button right there on to follow us. We do this podcast every Thursday night. Sometimes we schedule it on Wednesday based on availability for our guests and whatnot. Also, we do have the podcast version of this, the audio version that we release every Sunday on all major platforms. So make sure to follow us there. I want to say everybody be excellent to each other and stay frosty.
That's right, all my fellow nerds. Thank you all for joining us, and please subscribe. But also the tender moment of the podcast. Always stay safe. Show your support for all of the platforms. Me Too, Black Lives Matter. The fight is still going on, so please show your support however you can, and be safe out there.
One quick question for Mallory from our chat. Rydia wants to know, what was it like playing Madam M, and how closely did you relate to the character? Just real quick.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for your question, first of all. I appreciate it. How was it like playing Madam M? It was very out of my comfort zone a little bit. She's very, sultry and sensual and relaxing at times, and then can kind of flip a switch really quick, right? And kind of be crazy and cut your head off and scare you to death. What I love about playing that character is the unpredictability. So I loved going from being just very relaxing and very just, I'm going to sing you to sleep now, and then all of a sudden just just screaming in your face. And I just love every part, every aspect to her. She was just a very fun character to play, and really
We had a
grateful
good-
to Square Enix.
And you really owned it too. Like, you owned that part. Like, there's
We actually had a good long chat about that too on your
It
previous
was
podcast.
I think we all pretty much were in agreement. Like, it was one of the most standout performances. It was awesome.
Oh,
It
thank
was
you.
so
Well,
great.
I like always, I have to always thank my vocal directors, my voice directors, my sound engineers. Without them, I wouldn't have Madam M wouldn't have sounded like Madam M. Let me tell you, it's thanks to their voice direction. It really helped a lot. It helped mold the character. So I have to say thank you to them as well. So it's definitely a team effort. But thank you so
That's
much for the
awesome.
question,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I loved being here tonight, you guys.
No,
Thank you
thanks
so
for
much
being
for
on
joining
again
us.
with
Thank
us.
Jason?
Definitely shout out to all of you guys in chat. Shout out to both of you guys, Mallory and Soldier. Thank you guys for being on with us tonight. As always, just stay safe, as my friend Jerry just said. Social distance. We're at the tail end of all this. We're literally at the tail end of all this. Be nice to each other, because we are in a time of peril, of craziness, with California fires, with like floodings everywhere, like war. Just please, just take 1-2 seconds, just say like, hey, let me help you out with this. It's a lot easier to be nice than it is to be evil. But with that, be kind, rewind. I gotta say it out there for you, man.
Yep. And steal Theo's thunder.
And I will always steal Theo's thunder when he's not here. So everybody tonight, thank you again for crashing game night with us. TTFN, ta-ta for now.
Night, everybody.